residual and then get a new wife, then at that point we have
check yourself before you wreck yourself.
How's everyone doing? Let's make sure we can hear me, and we'll go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and get live in the Discord. So for anybody that's in the Discord, I'm going to be doing the live stream, and then my Discord, if they want to ask some questions later, they can come off mute and ask some questions. Kind of do a round table, but also share this one over to Twitter and on YouTube. If you guys do want to sign up for the Discord, feel free to go over to wap.com/Ponzi-trades.
Did I miss the fucking stream?
Bro, get muted, bully. We just started. Alright, so go over here and go to wap.com, Ponzi-trades. If you want to join, you can join here and sign up for WAP, and then go from there. So that'll be with where I'm at in the Discord. That's where I post most of my stuff. We stream in there. I try to go every other day, sometimes more, sometimes I'll do 2 in a day. It really depends on the market and everything, but feel free to join if you guys want. If not, see you on Twitter, and let's go ahead and get started with some things that I'm looking at. Let me get Bully off mute. It's starting the stream here, so we're on YouTube. And let me get my screen shared at my Discord as well. All right. So I'm going to start with Bitcoin and a few other things, and then go over that. Let me check one more thing before we get started here. Make sure we're all up and running. All right, cool. All right, looks like we're all set. So I'm going to cover kind of the basics again. Everything I've been looking over with my Discord the last few days. Basically the signs that I was seeing for this decline that we've had the last few days. and the pause. And let's get started with the harmonic on the daily. So we hit the terminal bar, which is the full completion of the shark for Bitcoin. Originally, if you guys remember, I was looking at this 886 area to see if we were going to go ahead and have a pause area. We actually did form a bull div and pushed up through it, but on the daily, I did notice that we had triple bearish divergence here. And we also had waning momentum here on your MACD. So you can actually see this here on the daily. Your momentum was going down. You had lower lows or lower highs here, but you also had higher highs on your price over here on Bitcoin. So I can actually just start fresh here so you guys can see basically what I was looking at here. But I had this high. We had the harmonic with the shark. And then we had 3 signs of bearish divergence here, and you can see it. You had higher high, higher high. Here you had waning momentum on the MACD. You also had bearish divergences on your Stochh. So that was a sign to be careful. You have a bearish harmonic, you have bearish divergence. You swept the high, you came back in under the high, and you retested it here. And that's where I said to really be careful, because if we don't get back above that, we could start to fall. And that's what's happened. So from there, I mean, we can think maybe about T1. That's a possibility. That would turn into a bullish 5-0, that 50% retrace from your shark. We still need to break some levels before you even think of that, though. And as Scott says, Harmonic Trader, if you guys aren't following him, please go follow him. He's the one that is basically taught me, and I've read all of his books about the harmonics, so please follow him. Watch his streams. He goes live daily. His software right here I use on the regular. It's so helpful, so I would suggest getting that as well if you can. Once you do learn the harmonics, he has the books on his website for free as well, so please read those. But he talks about this 30-day window that you have here for the harmonic. Sorry, I had to mute somebody in the Discord. But this 30-day pause, we're about like 8 days, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days or so into it now. That also lines up with what I'm looking at for the lunar cycles, where we have in June, and then also we have a monthly close on a Sunday, I think, this month, which you might get some fuckery over a low volume, low liquidity weekend with a monthly close. Could see some fuckery, and from there, that's when we're going to go ahead and look for potential longs. I think they're coming. I think we're going to have swing longs coming soon, but we just need to give it some time, let this play out, reset on the oscillators, and then we can go from there. Same thing with ETH. I wanted to cover ETH because ETH BTC, let's actually start with that. So ETH BTC, same thing. We hit the all-time 886, and I've been talking about this for a while. We have a bullish bat pattern. We also had, I think it was on the 5-day was the Gartley that hit the hop level down at the 886 as well. So we have this. I pulled both the data from when we bottomed last time, and why am I pulling this data here? Because if we hit the all-time 886, that's usually the areas you want to find a reversal for any of the pairs, or ETH BTC specifically. So I took both those price actions and I kind of overlaid it just to kind of show you what it looks like with last few times we bottomed here. So I still think ETH BTC is going to be pretty strong. This is why I'm looking at ETH BTC a lot more than I was previously. I was looking at Solana a lot because obviously it was outperforming. But now I do see ETH BTC looking pretty good here. And you can kind of see previous price action, overlay it, just see that we are in a little bit of a pause, and then going into like July or so is usually when you would get a little bit more move on the alts. But then when you're looking at ETH, so let me see, where did I have it? All right, so just looking at ETH, higher time frame, how about we do that first, and then we'll go over the lower time frame and kind of show you guys what I was looking at. All right, so higher time frame. This is still the plan. I think we're gonna have this butterfly. We had the 786 here that we had. We pulled all the way back down to another 786. We had a monthly order block here that we had flipped. We wicked below it, right? But like on the smaller time frame, if you went and pulled this over, oh, sorry. If you went and pulled this over, you can actually look on the daily and go down and see how you flipped it and held support here in the mid. Consequent encroachment, you basically came through, you got over that 50%, you held it, we shot up. And then on the higher time frame, we also have a PO3. We had these lows, we swept these lows. So we had our accumulation, we had our little manipulation phase, and now we're looking for distribution up top. Basically PO3. So if we do get a retrace down into this, let's see where we go. This would be the last buy, I think, opportunity before I do think ETH goes to $6,000. And ETH BTC bottomed, in my opinion. You got to look at ETH dominance. On top of that, kind of gives you early signs of what's happening here, right? So if you're looking on the 3-day here, we completely broke the downtrend of ETH dominance that we had. So ETH dominance is just basically the percent of the total crypto market cap that ETH is. And we broke the downtrend and we back tested it as support pretty much. So even if this does fall down and we stay above this red line here and we do fill this gap, I see no reason why ETH can't start performing a little bit better than Bitcoin, and I'll probably be trading ETH a little bit more. So these are all the things I'm looking at, kind of get a gauge on the whole market. So those all look pretty good. Obviously Bitcoin dominance, still pretty high at the moment. Ultimately, I'm looking for this to finally break. We deviated below it here, but then we support again. Lower time frame, we had another trend that we are rejecting up against at the current moment. We have a bearish divergence that's trying to form up here, so if we can get that to form, that might be a good thing in the next few months for alts to really see this start to fall. Once this starts to break down below these levels, I think you see a full-fledged alt season. And this moved down, like everybody's freaking out because they were over leveraged at the top, up only, whatever anybody on Twitter was saying. We took the longs in like April. So we took the longs in April, and then we basically were taking some profits on longs, and we were looking for down moves recently. We've gotten them. We reduced our risk. And from here, we're looking for the moves down to get long again and to ride the next wave. And I think this next one's going to be a big one. So we were putting in B points for a lot of larger harmonics. We do have bullish harmonics forming at the bottom of a lot of things that we're going to go ahead and cover. And haven't really taken too many shorts. The one that I took recently was Launchcoin. This is basically the biggest one that we took. I know I posted this on Twitter, but in the Discord, a lot of people got into this. We shorted this 4-hour fair value gap right here at the midpoint and wrote it down. I actually got out about a 50% move down. This is on MEXC. On Blowfin, it went a little bit lower. So fully out of this short. We'll probably look to long this. Give it some time. I want the market to digest this down move. If we go a little bit farther down, I'll probably try to get long on Launchcoin because I do think this thing can go a lot higher if they fix everything. I am bullish on it, but I'm not bullish when everybody else is bullish while we're forming a bearish 4-hour fair value gap back retest, and we had a Gartley pattern. So we can get down to this Gartley pattern. It could also go down into a bat because if you pull this B point to here, that's a 0.5. So like I have the entire zone marked out, and this would probably just be an accumulation zone for me and using profits from the short. Got to go back to ETH. I think I got ahead of myself a little bit, but higher time frame, I showed you guys the plan. Lower time frame, this is what I was looking at. We had a range, so we had the highs, we had a low. We swept these equal highs up here. We came back in, we retested it. This was a short opportunity here that I had posted on Twitter. the whole plan was to come down, tap the trend, get a little bit spike up. Didn't go as high. Obviously, I was seeing if we're going to fill this fair value gap, and then come back down again. So right now we're at the EQ. We're at equilibrium of the range. We're right here at the midpoint, and we have fell below the trend. So for now, this is the first sign of blood. I want to see us start to form a base before I'm jumping into longs right away. I also got to see all of my harmonics complete and just get a little more confidence. I want to see some bullish divs before I really start to see the next move up. And this can take some time to digest, right? So it could be a week, could be 2 weeks. Things could start looking better tomorrow. But it needs some time, I think. First sign of blood, people are trying to long already because it's worked the last few weeks. But looking at Bitcoin, looking at ETH, this is also the first actual trend break that we've had. So this is the first trend break that we've actually had on Bitcoin on this entire move up. So looking at that, you have the bearish harmonic as well. It could go lower. I mean, I think the maximum that we'd probably see from here is around 93K if it goes that low. But a typical 382 pullback is nothing out of the ordinary on a way up, which is going to be your 97, 98K area. You also got a weekly fair value gap here, right around that level with the daily breaker. So watch that level specifically to see if we're going to come there. Lower time frame, we have a bullish bat trying to form here at the 236, so we could see a bounce here shortly. The thing with this bat, are we going to have the larger harmonic play out, right? So if this plays out, if we do only come up to like a 382 or maybe a 618.5 area and then fail that again, we could be looking for a move, something like that, which we're going to have to play close attention to. We'll trade it as it goes. We'll look at divergences and everything in the Discord and trade that actively. But then you also have this larger one appearing that could take us down to those levels that we were just speaking about. So even if it came down, this would be normal price action, right? So we're going to keep an eye on this. We did get those larger trend breaks, so this is not out of the picture. All right, we're going to go into probably the fun part. A few coins that I'm looking at that have pretty good harmonic setups. My mic's still working, right? Somebody was saying that it wasn't. Okay. All right, so that's basically what I'm looking at for higher time frame. Like, it is an area where we finally got our first down move that we were basically projecting. And from here, we're looking for longs. Like, this is the time to look for longs. We got a huge short. I mean, we were 50% down on Launchcoin in a few days. You don't need a bunch of trades to make a bunch of money. Like, you don't need to be in 20 different shorts or 20 different positions. You can just size up on a good one, and it's better that way too. You can focus on just one trade versus being scatterbrained. Some people try to do too much. All right, sorry, I had to grab some coffee. All right, let's go over to let's start with Solana and Farcoin actually. So for ideal area for me, if I'm gonna long Solana, obviously most of you guys know I'm more big on SUI at the moment, but for leverage trading on the side, I still think Solana is gonna do well. Obviously, it's the lead in L1 this cycle, and it has been, but there is a shark, and I'm looking at the shark down here around the 1.13. If we bounce from the 786, if it's a cipher, I don't trade ciphers really much anymore, because if you don't have a 1618 for your leg right here, and the 886 doesn't have it as well, typically it just leads to a shark anyways. So you do see that 1.13 typically instead of the cipher. You might get a small bounce off the cipher, but those aren't the trades that I want to take. They're not under Scott's books, and there's a good reason for it. When you trade them, you usually get a small bounce off of it, and then it ends up being the 1.13 shark anyways. So that's just from my experience and time trading these. And I know it is a pattern that some people use, but I don't find it super reliable. And when you drag it to the 1.13 shark, you can actually see how we had support, resistance, 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 support. You scroll back, you also see this area being pretty significant. So this is an area I'd be looking to swing a Solana long. If we get 136, I'm in. Looking at Fartcoin, this is one that I really want to get more of. As you guys know, we're under from 0.3. I took profits at 144, 140. This is the area that I've called out in my Discord for a while. And from here, I was looking to get back in. I didn't sell, I only sold like a little bit of it, but I'm trying to add that back in under $1. I said we get that under $1, that's where I'll add back and just hold the spot. This is my meme coin of choice this cycle. From the lows, I consolidated pretty much all of my meme coins into Fartcoin, and this will be my main hold for a spot bag. I'll probably trade like other memes, obviously, and maybe buy some more and play things on chain as we go. But for now, Fartcoin's going to be my main pick for my main meme coin horse that I am betting on. So 2 harmonics here on Fartcoin. We have a 618, 1272, 1618, 1.13 shark looking to complete down around 83 to 84 cent. We have a crab pattern 618, 382, 1618. Obviously this 4618 should be a 3618 max. I still like the 1618 level here, give or take, and we're looking for around 86 cents. 2%, I think you're not muted. Somebody was revving their car in the Discord. I'm going to put on push to talk for now. Give me 2 seconds. Alright. I put on push to talk for the Discord just so. Alright, cool. So this is the level I'm looking at. Like I'm looking at 84, 87 cents range. If I can get that, I think that's a steal, and that'll be somewhere I want to add back. The 382, we just broke down below the 382. We have a 0.5 around 92 cents. The 618's around that 75 from this entire move. Then also, if you want to look higher time frame, I think it was the 12-hour that had it. Yeah, okay, so the 12-hour had the bat that hit the hop at 144. This was one thing I was looking at where I wanted to take profit on. I think it was also the 0.5 of this entire move. So if you're pinning from here to here with your fib, your 0.5 was around like 146, and I think that was the level where I'm like, okay, if we can retrace half of the Fartcoin move, I'm going to take some off the table and I'll look to add it back. And that's so far what's happened. It's playing out extremely well in our favor. But this is the area I was looking for. I said we broke the trend. We had the first Fartcoin trend break as well. This broke recently. I said we could get a 36% move down from here, and from there I would love to add. Carney software also shows this crab pattern that I have here that could be completed down here. You go back to the 12-hour. You're looking at the 12-hour. Your take profit 1 from the bat pattern that hit the hop level is also down here around 83, 84 cents. So that's just a bunch of confluence all at once that I'm looking for to hopefully get into a position. So let's turn all that off. Let's. I also didn't see this earlier, but I do see it now. So say we pin from this low. It's around an 886 pullback here as well. So you have multiple areas that line up for potential harmonics that are completing around that, you say 80 to 90 cent level, right? Anywhere in that, if we can get an opportunity at that, I'm going to take it personally. You guys can do what you want, obviously, but that is what I am eyeing for Fartcoin. And this looks like a pretty good level, right? Like we had support here, all of it looks pretty good. I had my alerts set. These alerts were basically set so I can remind myself to keep my eye on this when the time comes. So looks good. That's going to be what I'm looking at for Fartcoin, and then from there I think we go to all-time high. I might try to take a leverage trade on it, but specifically I will be in spot. That will be my main position on this, and even if I have to hold through a little bit more down, I think that's just a gift before ultimately this thing takes out all-time high again. All right, there's a couple others that I 100% want to look at. ENA being one of them, because I really like this Gartley on ENA. We have this downtrend break. We have a 0.584, so plus or minus 3% for the Gartley for tolerance levels. 786 down here around 0.3. If we do get a little bit more of a retrace, like we can bounce from here, then come back down, and if we do fill this in the next few weeks, this is my trigger to get long on, and I'm looking for a pretty large move from here on this one. I do think ENA can move minimal 133%, but like this could be the last bottom that you get before this thing actually just really takes off and even takes these highs out up here, which is a huge move. And this is the Gartley. This is what you want to see at the bottom of like macro reversals. If you see these Gartley patterns form, this is perfect for me from my experience if I have seasonality coming up of crypto and alt season pumping around this time. Then you have a Gartley pattern, which is my favorite harmonic pattern. I typically see the largest, strongest moves off of these. And you get an entry at these levels, this is where you want to look for swing longs. And you want to be able to, if you need to downsize position size where you can have it and hold it, then go ahead and do that. There's no reason to oversize it areas like this and lose sleep over it if you're looking for large macro moves. It'll just be better for your trading and better for your mental. So this looks extremely well. If we can get this level and we start to come into here, this is going to be huge triggers for longs for me for ENA. I want to look at Apu, which is a ETH meme. So this was a setup I had that was posted while over here, right? I still think this can come down farther. I was going over this with my Discord last night. If we do come down to the 0.5, which is the 886 level, and retrace the whole thing, obviously we haven't taken this yet. I've told people that we're not in. But if we do come down to the full 886, we're looking down around this level for a steal. And this is if we continue to move down, right? We filled this gap on the daily. We're holding significant levels here. This is where you want to, if you're in spot, this is where I want to typically start building a position. And even if you start building a 2x position swing or something like that, this is the area where you want to build the position. In my opinion, this is where you start building swing longs if we're looking for massive moves up. I want to let the weekend digest. If I don't catch the exact bottom, that's perfectly fine. Anywhere in this zone down here, I think this can be a huge move up in the future, is ideal for me. Higher time frame. We have our T1, which is going to be all the way up here. So even if looking at the risk to reward here, I mean, this is a 3x, 300% almost here. If you're looking for T2, I mean, that's 440% from where we're at right now. If we do get down to the 886, I mean, the opportunity just magnifies even more. It's 415%, 414, good number, and then 647% if you get a perfect entry down there. If we do go that far and take out these lows. So that's just something to keep in mind. I think this is going to be a good trade, a good meme, kind of like a Pepe beta, especially if Ethereum's strong. If Ethereum's strong, Pepe probably runs pretty hard. It's one of the leading memes this cycle. And then Apu would be right there with Pepe. I mean, it's frog themed. You go to CoinGecko, you can actually search frog themed coins, and their market cap, I think, is the 5th largest one, behind like Brett and Turbo and things like that. But it's on ETH, and that's what I like about it at the moment, because I do think ETH BTC looks extremely well. Yep, Frog looks similar. It does. It's around the same market cap. Also Foreman Gartley also has a Harmonic. I just personally think that Apu will do better because it is on ETH. I think ETH is going to be the next wave. And I'm more so on Sui. Like, Frog can do well. I'm not hating on it. I think this chart still looks pretty good. I think it will still do pretty well. I just personally, my choice is going to be Apu over Frog. And Pepe, obviously off the lows from one of the old streams here where we had the bullish 5-0, had a huge move. And it's just been strong. So that's why I'm choosing Apu for another meme on ETH, if I'm going to go ahead and look at that. Say, redheaded ugly stepbrother of Sui, still trying to put in a bottom end structure over here. You can kind of see almost like a inverse head and shoulders on the higher time frame here that you're trying to put in. I can visualize it for you guys if you need it. But you are putting in bottom end structure over here, so don't be surprised if we start to form a bottom in this area, higher time frame. And then from here, we start to climb back up in the next couple weeks, going into June, July. Breakout, maybe retest, maybe you don't, and you start getting big moves up. I think this comes in the next few months, like I've been saying. Things are setting up. They're forming nice reversal patterns on the higher time frame. And this is exactly what you look at when we had over here, right? It took us, how long? 94 days. We're at like 115 days or so right now, right? So about the same, give or take. What do you got, like 4 months there, 3 to 4 months? You form this bottom end pattern that you see here. You pretty much had a very similar one here, just visualizing this. And then we got out. We broke out, we retraced, and then we went. So I'm expecting the same type of thing here. Macro targets for this one, I would have to say 127. Just from this area, I'd be looking at least a 500% move on say if we're going to get an alt season, as long as everything goes well. All right, so Sui. All right, same thing, shark. So we had the bullish shark into the bearish shark. Sui loves shark patterns. We had the bullish shark back here, where we entered originally. And now we have another shark, and now another shark. So Sui, a lot of these coins do tend to play certain patterns over and over again, and the more you trade harmonics, the more you realize which charts play which patterns the most on the higher time frame. Sui likes the shark. So we do have bearish shark here that has formed. We had our terminal bar at 410. We also had the hack that completed over here. Same with Cetus, right? Cetus had a bullish bat, 382 first take profit. It hit the 382 and then they get hacked, right? Like, it's just amazing how the harmonics line up with things that happen. So we have a bearish shark. If we get around $3, I said that'll be where I add. If I'm going to add more Sui, I already have a lot of this from 86 cents. I'm still debating if I want to average up on this with some profits from the leverage that I move over to spot, or if I want to put it into like more ETH related or ETH memes or some other things. Still debating that. But if it happens quick, I'll probably just buy Sui. I want to keep stacking this. The chart looks good versus the Bitcoin pair. It looks great versus Solana pair. So it looks extremely well. It's my layer 1 bet for the remaining of the cycle. So if we do get this 0.5 move, so this would be a 50% move down from the shark, around $3 or so, that would turn into a bullish 5-0 pattern. That's your 50% retracement. From there, I think you get a nice move up. And we have this gap that already filled on the weekly. I think it was the monthly order block. That kind of lines up right here. So this whole area, I think, would be a good area for support if we do get another move down, right? If we continue lower and we take this out before we start our real run up, that'll be good. Yeah, let's look at CDIS while we're on that point, right? So originally, I was talking to my Discord because this is when we were big on SUI. We're still big on SUI in there, but we had the bullish bat pattern, the large 886.5 retrace. I think MEXC, this wick goes up a little higher than some other exchanges. But either way, we had the 886 full retrace with a 0.5. We found the bottom. I told people to get into CDIS. We had a huge candle up. We had first take profit at 382. And this is just normal harmonic price action. Even if we didn't get hacked on CDIS or CDIS didn't get hacked, the 382, typically you get your initial move up, you come back down for type 2 return, and then you get your type 2 going back up. So I'll post, let's see if I can paste this. Just to show you guys, like, this is harmonic structures and just trade management that you use with harmonic patterns as well. I see so many people trade harmonics, they don't actually read the books or understand Scott's developing strategies with this and how it can play out and how it works. They think, oh, this is the harmonic. They don't even have to take profits half the time with the fibs or anything. Like, they just learn the harmonics, the basic shit. They don't read the books, and they think that they understand it. But you have to actually understand that these things can have your type 1. They can do your type 2. You get your initial reaction. Then you form your divergence when you come back down for a type 2. Sometimes you complete another pattern inside a larger pattern. And then that's when you're going to get your real move. That'll be the real move up. So far, CDIS has already gotten all the money. They got a loan from SUI Foundation that they can repay back and make everybody whole. They're going to, within the next week, get everything back up and running. And guess what? They're going to get audited to shit. They are going to make sure that the protocol is sound moving forward. So if anything, I think the way they handled it and the way the team handled it over at the SUI Foundation and CDIS, they did extremely well. They got the funds locked. Everybody talks about decentralization and all that, but they had to have a vote with all of the validators, so it's not just one person deciding this and locking it and all that. Like, they actually had to have a foundation vote with like over 100 validators. So that is decentralization. That is what you were looking for. And a lot of people just read the headlines and the quick got you points and then want to talk shit. I think this is opportunity. I think if we complete this shark and we get a type 2 on this bullish bat, if we come down to around under 10 cents, I think this is a huge opportunity being the main DEX over there on SUI. So I'm looking for this potential type 2. If we get this and this completes, this is trigger for me to go ahead and get in a position. And I see a ton of people asking for coins and requests, and I get it. I 100% get it. I'm going to go over some of them, but I want to show you guys what I'm seeing first, and then we can go over some of the things that you guys want to see. There's a reason I go over some of these things. I'm going to go refill my coffee, And then from there, we're going to go ahead and go over Ava AI. I'll just pull up the chart for you real quick. So these were the 2 trades recently that have been taken on it. We had this one for 34%. This one we were looking for 32% short. We entered right here on this 15-minute fair value gap in a live stream on the Discord. It was like 1 a.m. I did a live stream in Discord. I said I'm going to just post a short entry, a large short entry here at the 15-minute fair value gap with minimal stop loss. And I went to bed and it's been playing out. So I'll come back and I'll go over the higher time frame idea that I want to get in a huge long on this thing, where I want to do it and everything. But let me go fill up a coffee. Should be drinking some fucking water with this coffee. I'm back. Alright. So we took this original trade, right? I want to break this entire thing down real quick, just for thought processes. And then what I'm looking at moving forward with this one, because I do think this is going to be a pretty good long and project setup. This was the old setup that I had. This is a separate chart. I think I used this as an example. Alright, so the first original trade that I saw, we had coming from here, I was looking, since we had a 618, I was looking for a bounce from the 618. And if we bounce from the 618, you have to have a minimal 382. So your minimal 382 was where I took profit on the long. And then you look for your 786. And you can also see where this is a max 1618. So what I took is this leg where it went to a 1618. And that was for this Gartley to play out, it had to go minimally to this area. And this is where I got into the long one night when we were looking at this, because I saw the 618 pullback. Things started to look a little bullish and come up. Looked like they were going to come up. So I looked for the minimal 382 into the 1618, which was right around here. Actually, it was like 7.5. So I was like, okay, we have that. We have a bullish divergence here on the 4-hour. I'll show you it on the 4-hour first. And this is stuff that I look at when we're doing trades. So you have bullish divs. You have momentum waning on MACD. So it's slanting upwards, right? But on price, you had a lower low. And then you look over here. So you had a lower low here in price. But on your RSI, what did you have here? You had a higher low. So you have this massive 4-hour divergence here at a 618 pullback. That's a trigger for a long. Then you also go in a little bit farther. You have the divergence. This is where we were looking for entries, right? So price was like right here at the time. It was like 10 p.m. You have these lows here that you swept. So we had the lows that swept, and then from here, I was looking for this move up, and then we were looking to get long at this level. I want to say there was like a 15-minute. I was looking at the 15-minute for entry. So we had this level, we came back, we retested it, this was our entry. We wanted to hold the 618, so we had stop loss below 618. And then I also had a few more bids down here just in case we did hit, and our target was minimum 382 for the move up. So it's a 5-to-1 trade that we took, and this is just leading into the whole thought process for you guys to understand it, what I'm looking at, and then we'll move into larger time frame for this asset and where we want to get into it. So this was the trade setup that we had. We came up to the minimum 382. So this one was a good 35% move that we had. So this is the C leg. This is the C leg that I traded on the Harmonic because we had other things that could show us the big picture. So we might be trading this asset throughout the C leg or up from B to C. So far we're trading it from C to D, and now we're going to look for the final big move on it from D all the way up until taking out probably this high, but at least 382,618. So looking at this higher time frame, or let's do 1 hour, 4 hour for now. Now that we had our 618 put in, we have our 0.5 put in, which also, if you looked on the daily, this is nice to have in the future. We never filled this gap. But now we have 0.5, 618, 786. We're looking for the Gartley. My favorite patterns to trade, higher time frame on an AI asset that I'm pretty bullish on. And this is what we're looking for. We're looking for this 786 to complete. You can drag this down to look for the 1618 from this extension here, ABCD, which is around 0.3. So we mark that out. And then I also like to just mark out the 886 because a lot of crypto does go to the extreme levels of an 886. So I call it the 786, 886 zone. Like if you have a Gartley, I always add this here. If it's not on my chart, I know, I look at it, I see it. But this is the zone, right? Like, and I want to see how price reacts here. Are we going to hit this 1618 for this max extension for the Gartley and bounce from here? Does it still look weak? Do I think we can go full 886 retrace from it for a deep Gartley pattern and watch price? Especially on a higher time frame like this, you don't have to just jump in right as soon as you hit the 786. You can also look at your divergences. Once you form a divergence down there, you can use HSI arrows and everything to see if you're going to get a green arrow. And then you're going to get a yellow dot to kind of show like your divergent confirmation for the move up. This is with Scout software for the HSI. It's Harmonic Strength Index. And you can use this other software to see if you're going to be bottoming out here and then coming back up, retesting into the green for your divergence for your move up. So there's a lot of things I look at when I'm looking at this. But ideally, I want to see a little bit more down on this and then come back up. So we have this larger one. Now I'm also looking for smaller ones on more local price action to see if we have a more local one that completes at a larger one. While I was looking for that, and this is where this other trade came from recently, I saw plus or minus 5% for the butterflies. I believe, I'll have to double check. But we had 0.732. So that would confirm butterfly. I might be mistaken, it might be plus or minus 3%, but this is still what I used. Let me double check real quick. Yeah, I think the butterfly is supposed to be 3%, but this one's a little bit off. But it lines up with the area I'm looking at. 786, 786, 1272, which also lines up right around the larger harmonic that I'm looking for. So I was looking for a retrace down here. That's why I said we can take a 15-minute scalp short on this one. In this area, right? So I like to see with patterns, like you get a 786 on a butterfly, sometimes you get a 786 here, give or take. It's relatively close on the C leg, and then that also strengthens the pattern for your 1272 if you have the exact ratios in it. So I was like, okay, 786 here, that's probably going to be your high. We came back up, we swept this high that you can see on more local price action. Once you swept that and then you came back down, you formed this 15-minute fair value gap that I saw. So now that we have this high swept, we're looking to at least target down this low here, which would be your next low. And then you came in 15-minute fair value gap, filled short order, TP1, TP2, and then TP3, hopefully down on this low. And then from there, we start looking for swing longs. So I'm just going to plan to compound this position into more of a lower leverage swing long once we hit the higher time frame harmonic. 35% up, hopefully 32% move down. Then from there, higher time frame. Let's see where this thing bottoms and the harmonic forms. You have your 382 around 0.06. Your 618 is exactly right here at the daily fair value gap that did not fill. So this is what I'm looking at. Just overall on this asset, it plays out perfectly. You have the Gartley 618, 786. You have your 618 right at your daily fair value gap up here, right against this high. So you sweep this high, you go into the daily fair value gap, and from there, I think that should be a very good trade. Risk to reward, like that's up to you guys. What you want to risk on it. I'm gonna make sure that I can add in this area down here, be able to hold a position for a longer move up, and I think it can still go much higher than this. This is just obviously what I think is gonna happen. I think we can even go up to the 1618 once this retraces, if we're gonna get a full-fledged all season, which you're looking at a 300% move. So if I can get into a 2, 3x, maximum 5x, depending on how I feel, if we come down into this price and I can get a good entry on this, and just hold this for a large move. I think this is going to be the next step or stage. Like in these, once you identify the trade, once you see your larger time frame setup, you can scalp in here, scalp. But once you start to see these larger Gartleys form like this, you gotta shift gears and you gotta be more into like a swing position versus a scalp position. And this is what some people need to work on with when you're looking at charts, is know when to swing, when to scalp. And this is more of a swing position territory for us. Um, Sorry, I was drinking some water, but I saw somebody ask about Lido, LDO. I'm sorry. I know ETH looks good, Lido looks good, but I have deleted that from my watch list and muted it on Twitter. I will not trade that coin. I apologize. I hate that coin. Alright, let me check Discord to see if anybody's asked for anything. There's a couple other things I do want to go over, and we'll probably do another one tomorrow. Um, Actually, tomorrow I'm going to be a little busy at running a pickleball tournament tomorrow. So I have a tournament tomorrow, so hopefully do well in that. But maybe after that at night I'll probably jump back on. Definitely in the Discord. Maybe live on Twitter and YouTube again, but let me see what anybody requested. Keycat. I'll look at Keycat because I have that actually on my list of memes here. And it has a good setup coming in. It has a Gartley, kind of Gartley or so setup. So we had a butterfly. I think if I actually pin this down here, this would be a perfect Gartley setup, 786. So if you take all the data, I mean, you have your butterfly here, 1272 on local price action. If you're looking for a swing long, like I think these two levels would be decent levels to bid, and just hold. And just know that you have a, I think you had a daily fair value gap a little lower too. Yeah. So I mean, you do have two harmonics set up for this, and if this does play out, oh my God, look at that wick on the daily. I would probably have to look on chain for this. Yeah, I mean, dude, this looks. I like Keycat, honestly. I think it's a good base meme. Um, I ran it up a little bit earlier in the cycle. I think if you come down and test this level, this is going to be a good entry. Like I said, ETH probably does well. You have ETH projects that probably do well. Oh, see, on chain, it's a perfect 786. So I mean, if you're looking just to enter in this, obviously just on spot or something, like there's no reason to not start a position around 40 mil and then 34 mil if you can get those ads. Um, like I wouldn't mind personally holding through a little bit of a down to get these entries because these are good entries. And you're at a huge support level just looking left on this. I mean, worst case scenario, you mark out this last. You can kind of just see the demand in this zone too. Resistance, resistance, support, support, support. And just have those marked out. Like maybe start your position if you're not in, add, and then if you worst case scenario, if we do get a large move down, this would be kind of like your last add for a longer term. But this, I think, is going to be a good performer. Probably be looking back on something like this and be wondering why the fuck you didn't get into it when it's at like 500 mil or something. I just did Ava AI. I just went over it in depth. If you want to go to YouTube and go to, I don't know how far in we are. 58 minutes. I don't know. Go to like 50 minutes or something in YouTube once it finalizes, and then you could probably find it. Okay. I'll look at hype. Why do you hate Lido? Because I hate trading it. Fucking sucks to trade. Maybe not for you, but for me personally, I have a vendetta with it. There's not many coins I have a vendetta with. Lido is one of them. Was there anything specific you want to look at Keycat before I move to the next one? I'm gonna try to answer your guys' questions. Also, if you guys want me to look at your coin like right away, uh, I'll post this. It should pop up on the screen. Um, it's like a tip jar type thing. I don't know if it works yet. I was trying to set it up. But if you guys do just like tip on there and it pops up on the screen, like I will go directly to your coin and go over it. That's kind of what I'm gonna use as these streams grow. Uh, Obviously, you can just request it now. I don't mind just doing them. But if you guys want to, like, obviously that'll be incentive for me to just like go over your coins quicker than somebody else. And if it doesn't work, or if somebody wants to test it, I'll send you the money back in Solana. All right, hype. I'm gonna look at hype. Oh, Hondo. I need to look at Hondo too. Hype Hondo Popcat. So this is the original crab pattern that we had identified earlier on Hype. And then we had the 1618 that we came up to, which would be your last TP of this. And we hit the 1618 and we've retraced, but it looks like we came down to the daily fair value gap. We filled that. Higher time frame. I mean, it's bullish, right? Like, it's kind of hard to really chart this. I think it's obviously one of the best performers at the moment. Looks like I looked over this a while ago. I mean, yeah, so you swept the last high. I can't really do like a price prediction on this thing. It's not like my best forte, but it is bullish. I did see, no pun intended, the hype. Yeah, there's a 4-hour shark on Wayne on Hondo. But you swept the high. It makes sense for us to retrace. And then if we're going to continue, it's probably going to be from here. I mean, you had your lows, you swept lows, you reclaimed it, then you took out the high. Like, if we're super bullish, I mean, you'd want to see this thing maybe flag here. I mean, that was a shitty flag. But flag and then break out above this high and then go. If we see continuation, you want to see something like this play out. Because it would ultimately look just like a massive cup and handle before a giant move up, right? Like you had, like just looking at it. I mean, I know that drawing looked pretty shitty, but just by visualizing it, I would like to see something like this play out and just go from there. If we're going to continue higher, we are going to get alt season and hype's going to continue to do well. I would ideally like to see some type of pattern like this play out on it, just on a high time frame. So I had the 4-hour shark that you mentioned on the Hondo. I go to the 1.13. There's also that, I think it was a daily fair value gap that got left behind down here that I had marked. Yeah. In the 1.13, so this is a 161. I wonder if it goes 2.24. Yeah, it still fits, so I think you come down to here. You have the 1.13 shark that lines up with the daily fair value gap that got left behind. I think this would be a killer entry for Hondo. 80 cents? Yeah, why not? This looks fantastic. Maybe run it into like a butterfly, which might line up with higher time frame shark. 0.5. Do we get the butterfly into the 0.5 for the bearish 5-0? Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, man. Bid this. Target this. That's 6-1 there, and if we can hold this area here, the order block that we have down here, fill the fair value gap, I mean, that's a fantastic trade. I mean, if you want to be really safe about it, like just higher time frame, like I already have it marked, like we have low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low. I mean, you could even be targeting up here if we're going to continue. But if you wanted to trade it, I mean, this is still like 3-1, which I think this would hit. But I mean, even if you're just holding it below here, because you don't want to see it drop below that if you're going to hit a butterfly here. I mean, that's 4-1. I mean, you can't get better setup than that. This looks great. Ideally, now that you're in oversold territory, ideally this is the lowest this goes. You see this wick. What I would want to see is maybe we come back up a little, we sweep this wick, but this happens up here. So you get a bull div on the 4-hour like that, while you hit the 1.13, while you fill the daily fair value gap. And then from there, get momentum coming up like this too, where you have this kind of goes like this, maybe goes up green a little, and then comes down and you get waning momentum. So showing bears are exhausted. You get your momentum going this way, you form a divergence here, you get one on the RSI. You got the harmonics completed, you get the fair value gap completed, you get a type 2 for your larger harmonic. You have a bearish harmonic here that points up to the 0.5, which is your target for your shark anyways. So all of this just combining all into one and having your confluence would be a great trade with a lot of confluence into it. Yeah, so I mean, Hondo looks good, right? Oh shit, Peter, you didn't have to donate 50. Thank you, I appreciate it, man. Can I get a shout out to Peter? I really appreciate that. Maybe we'll use the tip jar for like giveaways and stuff like that in the Discord. I think that'd be cool. If people start doing that for like to request tickers, and then whoever joins the Discord, like maybe we'll run giveaways with the money from the tip jar. I think that would be ideal. Versus I make my money from this trade and shit, so if I could give that back to the community just from people requesting stuff, um, or just people on Twitter or something like that, or YouTube, and we just take it and give it back to the Discord, that would be sick. Is there anything you want to look at, Peter? So I remember meeting Peter in a separate Discord a while back. He's a super good trader, nice dude. So I guess the jar works though, right? It popped up. I'll have to get some cool animations or something, and get that all set up because I still got to get some of these things all situated. I got some cool graphics. Shout out Wayne. Bats in here in the chat helping me out with that. And then the next thing I'll do, I'll get some things set up. All right, let's do a couple more. We said Hondo. Somebody said we said Popcat, right? Yeah, I want to start. I was gonna start playing like music in the background too, but last time I did that, like just keep it super low. Last time I did that, YouTube said it was like banned in separate some certain countries because it was like copyright infringement. So I still have to get used to that when I'm streaming on YouTube and everything too. People got to get their money, huh? All right, Popcat. All right, we're gonna go the big, the bad, the ugly first. What could happen? Doesn't have to happen. You guys know that. I always go over this. Maybe I'll chart this on chain too, right after. Good, bad, ugly. Daily fair value gap down here that completes at an 886 bat harmonic. The good, I think this is a C leg for a move continuing higher because we have a 618 here. Ideally with these, I would like to see a minimum 618 for C leg, which is right here. And this can be either a Gartley or, since we are looking for alt season extension move, we get a 1618 that completes around the 618. But this might have to be dragged. This might be old. But those are the two levels, right? We're looking to put in a C leg here, in my opinion. I'll have to chart this on chain to look at all the data again. But anything in this zone, just looking at this, if you're a spot trader, if you're looking for a move, I think from this zone to here. Yeah, I mean, that is, say you just get in at the 618, that's a 150% move. Say you somehow do get all the way down to the bat pattern, which could happen. You always want to mark it off and be like, all right, how would I feel if price went here and I entered here? If it's too much, you're over leveraged. You have too much on your position. You don't want to have to be a buyer here and forced seller here just for it to go a little bit farther down, and then you have to get out because you need the money for something and it continue upwards. So make sure you guys use risk management. I can't give you guys financial advice or anything, but just do what you guys want and don't go too far into things like these, especially meme coins. They are all vaporware. They're all going to go to zero at the end of the cycle. Maybe you find one or two that stay, but all of these things will go to zero at the end of the cycle. There's thousands of them, millions of them that have been released this cycle. None of them have any intrinsic value. None of them have any type of value. They're all meme coins. You can ride the initial hype, but you have to make sure you take your profits. If we get that push down, Bitcoin goes to say 96, 97, whatever it was. I was looking at 98. ETH does drop down and sweep that low. There's no reason Popcat can't come down here as well. I mean, we're already halfway. We've already gone halfway, I believe, of the move. And say this comes down to the 618 even, and then we get a small bounce back up, and then we go, or something like that. Say we form a Gartley here. I mean, this would even be more bullish. If you got a Gartley into a Gartley, say you get something like this that plays out. Obviously, this is your first TP. You don't want to assume that it's going to be a crab. But if you get something like this that plays out, I mean, this would be a huge trigger for me. I love plays like this where you have a potential harmonic this way, bearish one with a bullish one. I mean, this would be a huge trigger if we got something like this to play out. or if it goes into the bat. I mean, even something like this is a huge opportunity for spot or 2x. Or you just wait, you identify your divergence, you can really pinpoint the entry, you can go really less on risk down there. Obviously, I just show you like proper stop losses and everything based on the harmonics, but I don't always use them. If I use everything else, when price does hit that point, I look at all the data, look for my entries to see if I can minimize my risk even more at those areas. But it's getting to those points where, like, if we're gonna have an alt season, we're gonna continue. You're getting to the points where I personally want to bet. The last few weeks, I've told people that something felt off. Like I feel like we need to have a little bit of a move down before we continue upwards again. It's been playing out. So one thing I really wanted to touch on was this Gartley over here on total 3. And I told people, like, yes, some assets are forming Gartleys and harmonic patterns already. But if you can get a harmonic pattern like this on total 3, so you have every asset other than like BTC and ETH. I think there's another one too I want to look at. I'll look at others. But just overall, if we form this Gartley on total 3, this is go mode. This is like, okay, we have the Gartley on total 3. That means most alts are probably have bottomed or at their bottom. And we look for a reversal on total 3 because that just takes the entire crypto market. That's why I chart total. That's why I chart total 3. That's why I chart others. You can get a gauge on the whole market. If you have a bullish harmonic pattern on total or total 3, then most likely if you have a bullish harmonic pattern on your alt that you're looking at, your crypto, or if you look at the Bitcoin pair and you have a harmonic there, maybe it's stronger than Bitcoin, and you have total that's going to reverse, which also is going to bring the market up with it. And if your coin looks stronger versus Bitcoin, then you can trade that coin over it. So there's a lot of things that you can look at to really gauge how strong my coin's going to be. Is it worth it? Is there hype? Is there social media presence? How do the fundamentals work? Is all of the supply on the market? Are they dumping it? Do they have unlocks? All of these things you want to take into your viewpoint. So you one harmonic that worked on total. Okay, we can just go to the most recent one that marked the exact bottom. How's that? There's your bullish bat pattern. 0.5, 886, 2.0. Mark your exact bottom on total before this move up. I posted this back here for the Discord, saying if we hit this, this is going to be where we're going to reverse. Then we also looked at the weekly and the monthly on log scale. The monthly really shows the data. So you have a bullish harmonic on the daily. The monthly, you get cup and handle retest at the monthly closes. You don't close the monthly below it. You actually hold this level. You wick down below into the bullish harmonic on the smaller time frame daily where you look for your entries. And then you have been moving up. So you use it with confluence with all of it. But the harmonic, it was perfect. I mean, you can even use Carney software, and I think it was there. So the guy that wrote the books on harmonics, like his software, actually shows the bottom, which XA is your entry. Perfect. You had your T1, your take profit 1. You found support above that. The wicks came perfectly to T1. Now you're finding support above T2. What about the X spot? This is the swing low right before an impulse move up. This is impulse move. You can see harmonics are great when you have this impulse move up and you can pin it. Why is X randomly in the middle? I mean, for people that don't trade harmonics much, like, or you're just starting, like, you can probably see, like, you don't see them as easily. The more you trade them, the more you get used to it, the more you can find those areas that are significant where you do see impulse moves up, where you can actually pin an X point and continue it. It's really good on impulses. Obviously, swing low is the best, but if you can find like impulse moves, especially in the middle of like ranges and stuff like that, where you do see like it was a clear change of like chop into impulse, and you can pin an X point on that, you get a lot of harmonic. AVAX, I think, is a good example. Let me see if I can show you this one. It was a smaller time frame one, but I'll just show you an example. Was this Gartley? So like obviously it's not the swing low, right? But you can see this is a swing low of this area. So if you start your harmonic here, you had a 618, and then 786 entry. We actually took this trade in my Discord. But you have 618, this is a swing low, so you can see within side a larger range, you have a smaller harmonic and a smaller time frame for him. This is like your low point, swing low at before like your impulse, 786 entry, move up. And then, I mean, if you entered here, it went down 2% for 37% move up. Exactly. Each time frame is different, right? You're going to have harmonics that are going to form on your 1 hour, your 4 hour, your daily, your 15-minute even. They're going to be forming all throughout. The larger ones are going to be your more confident ones where most likely it'll play out. But you see them on the small time frame all the time. And it's more intraday price action. You use larger ones. I use other strategies than just harmonic as well throughout the years that I've learned. And you find larger ones, and then you find smaller ones inside it. So if you wanted to more range trade or trade intraday, you can find those as well inside. The big clean ones are obviously going to be harder to find because they happen way less. So yeah, you could probably find a ton more in the midsection. The more you trade them, the more you're going to see which ones are probably going to fail or not. I know Scott's doing a video on failed harmonics soon to kind of gauge that. If you want to tune into him, just go to his profile, follow him. Maybe join his Discord, or you should join his Discord, and understand when a harmonic might fail, and then kind of learn it from him, because he can go into way more depth than I can about harmonics. I mean, he wrote the books on them. But I can just tell you the knowledge I've learned and developed. And I've been trading them for years, so I can kind of see which ones and which points, just by price action and other things I use too, where I would want to pin the harmonic. And do I want to take one on an intraday? Is there a large bearish harmonic that had just formed, but I see a bullish harmonic? Like, it most likely it will fail if it's a 15-minute harmonic, but you have like a 4-hour daily bearish harmonic. Yeah, bonk could go crazy. I mean, I think I'm bonked this. I wanted it down here, right? I went over this in stream in Discord the other night. Like, we finally broke the 4-hour trend that we had. Little scalp short here. You have a butterfly pattern here. This is your swing low of this area. 786, around 786, 1272. You pin it from here, it's around a 0.5. Your 886 lines up with there, so there's more confluence in that zone. Then you look left on the chart. You completely fill that fair value gap here. I think there was a weekly. You completely fill the weekly. Trying to remember what else I was looking at there if we do come down here. It was the 3-day, I think. The 3-day fair value gap gets completely mitigated down there. Doesn't have to go all the way down here, right? Like, we could bounce from areas we're at now. But if I'm going to leverage, I want to find big patterns. And maybe some assets, the patterns, they hold stronger and they don't go all the way down there. But the ones that do trigger for me, that I do have a pattern that completes, I stick to my rules. Some of them, even if it's going to pump super hard, if I'm leverage trading, I want my pattern and my confidence and my rules to be there when I'm taking the trade. So maybe this doesn't hit, this doesn't complete, but other ones do. I'll most likely take the trades on those if they're still stronger assets and they complete the pattern. maybe I'll take that because I have my fundamental thesis and plans when I take the trade that are going to play out versus something that's not hitting the areas that I wanted to take the trade on. I think I went over Fartcoin. This one I think is going to be a super good one. I went over this earlier in the stream. Previous price action, maybe extend it a little bit just to kind of see how it's played out in the past. I mean, it's kind of done the same exact thing, right? We have this little area of chop consolidation. We have our move up to around 144. We came down. We had our larger move back up where it kind of did here, exactly what it was doing over here. We had our huge move down here, which is happening now. And if it does, this is where the harmonic completes. Previous price action, when you pull the fractal over, it actually shows us coming down to the harmonic completions. So this is a bunch of other things I look at too. I don't like fractals to trade them exactly, but if I can use fractals from the same market makers with price action, but have my harmonics as my fundamental basis, and then use the fractal on how it could play out, if it lines up, that just is added confluence. And the fractal, like for whoever just asked in Discord, it's literally just pulled from the first run of Fartcoin. And I just stretched it out. But I mean, if this plays out within the next week or two, that lines up with everything else I'm looking at, like a week or so into June is when we start our move up. And this is what I'm talking about. You get double harmonics that form. You have the fractal. You have bullish dip divergence. You take out this past low from anybody that's been long here. Take that liquidity. You're looking for, like, I think all-time high next. And this is something that I've been eyeing just like on a higher time frame. And we've been scalping until we get this opportunity. We got in the bottom around like April. We ran a few coins up. We took some off, and now we're looking to do it again. But if you can catch this, I mean, say you get in 86 cents, and you can catch a 200% move on like, I don't know, 2-3x leverage. I mean, why not, right? It's a 6x. People in traditional finance markets would die for shit like that. You just have to do that a few times a year, right? Like hold some swings. Like in August last year, we had Apu and Brett that we 3x leverage. It goes up 5x. That's 15x on a coin. You say you only put $1,000 into that, right? Like you make 15 grand off of that. Then you wait for something like this again, and say it's a 6x. I mean, you're already at six figures from a grand just by swinging. You only have to take $1,000 and 10x it 3 times. Shout out Soul. I don't know if he's watching the stream. All right, is there anything else real quick? I looked at this yesterday when I saw it run. I don't know what this line I had. I haven't looked at it in forever, but I guess it might have been important. I haven't looked at this chart in ages. Live peer, right? It's live peer or something like that. Some type of streaming platform thingy on ETH. I don't know exactly. 0.5. Minimum retrace 933 to have this fit in a harmonic. So I think you would minimally retrace this down to 9.4. Obviously, this is just more harmonic. Things are going to get into the next few months, I think, where you don't, some of these you don't even need to look at, like for retracing for sea legs and stuff. How accurate are they? I think they're super accurate when you add other confluence with it. It's not like just the only thing you need to take trades on. Like, and even Scott will say that, like he looks at HSI and all these other things that are he takes and he's derived it from RSI and other things for divergences. But if you take all of it and you add all the confluence together, like I even have little things from ICT that I take. I have price action stuff, just Wyckoff that I look at, like a whole bunch of things over the years that I've taken and put all into my technical analysis. And I used to do more fundamental before, right? Like I'd find like things that were hyped. I would do research on the company. I would see how much revenue they're bringing in, like all this other stuff. And then as I progressed, I'm like, okay, well, I have all that. Like, where do I figure out to sell it? So that's when I really like dove into more of the technical analysis side. And I just use all of it as confluence, right? The more confluence you can have on a trade, the more probability and trust in yourself that you're going to have more on a psychological level when taking the trade versus not having any of that. So for me, when I have like fundamental stuff that I do like about an asset, I look for harmonic patterns as entries. You have your take profits, but it depends on how hype you think the project is. You can scale out a little bit on like a T1 or T2 just to take your risk off the table. And then if you do think it's going to do like 5, 10x or some shit, incredible. You know what, Peter, I'm actually going to take that and just buy a new fucking mic with it. My other one, my dog chewed. I literally got like a nice Rode mic and he had chewed it up. So we'll just use that for a mic. No, but this one is pretty annoying. But just you take all the confluence with it all and just kind of add it together. But they work really well. If you want to understand the thesis on kind of like why they work or like why he uses the Fibonacci ratios, and that's all harmonics are. They're like Fibonacci ratios in a 5-point wave structure. And then he based it on like Gartley, who made the original Gartley, who like back in his work, like you would see it like this. I mean, that was bad. But you would just see things like this that he would have in his work, but Scott really took it and put framework around it where he used Fibonacci ratios to like strictly define like entries and points in the patterns. But if you read Harmonic, I think it's his Harmonic Trader version 1, he goes more into like the reasoning on why they work and Fibonacci ratio and just how it's ingrained into human nature and all of that as well. But that's important for me at least, because when I'm using something, I want to know how accurate it is and how it works. And even if you look up, there's a book called, actually I have it right next to me. Thomas Bolkowski, if you're looking up Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns, inside the book, I mean, he has thousands of chart patterns that he's looked back and back tested, and harmonics are in there, and it'll tell you like the hit rate of them and everything. But I think the hit rate, like obviously it could be better, like if you use other confluence with it. So like there are some that form that I don't see the confluence with it, and so I'm like, I don't know if this harmonic's going to do well. And the more you trade them and the more confluence you use with them, the better you get at it. And I think people just jump around strategy to strategy too much instead of like really fine tuning it and also working on your psychological level. So like you can read or chart as much as you want and you could be the perfect analyst and you can get plays and do all that shit, but still lose money, and that's more of a psychological thing too. So it's really about more so like I think they work extremely well. I've had huge success with harmonics, and that's why I still trade them. I've learned a bunch of shit over the years. But the psychology aspect's more important than any of it. If you can't execute on your trades or your entries or stop losses or anything like that, then you're not going to make money anyways. So I think there's multiple strategies. I've seen multiple people with way different strategies, shit that looks weird as shit, that I'm just like, I don't even know how you trade that, but it works for them and they make money. So I think harmonics work well. I find exact reversal points all the time in the market with them. Like, I mean, there's so many of them that just play out to a T, and it's just happened time and time and time and time again. The more you learn them, the more you're like, you go back and look at them, and you're like, holy shit, it played out perfectly. So it's more about finding a strategy that works for you and trusting it. And if harmonics, I mean, it's a little bit more, it seems advanced, but once you learn it, it's really not that hard. But it's just about finding a strategy that works for you. Like, I know some people that trade just like price action, and that works for them, and they make money, and they keep it simple. For me, I'm more integral. I've learned a bunch of things. So I use all of them kind of in confluence. But the best thing you can do is once you do learn something, try to simplify your strategy and have your rules, and then go from there. I think that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and call this one for today. It's been a couple hours. Probably do another one over the weekend. And then if you guys have any questions, just reach out in the Discord. I did mute the public channels, so I mean, if you just joined or if you want to, like, open a ticket. The public channels are muted because people kept posting scam links, and I don't know how this day and age that you guys are still falling for stuff like that. But I'm not going to DM you. I'm not going to post any links in there. Check my name, make sure it's spelled right. I know it's hard to spell lieutenant. I couldn't even spell it when I made that on Twitter. But just double check everything. Don't get scammed. Be patient here on this pullback. I think in the next week or two, these are going to be areas that you want to start getting into for the next few months. And then just be patient. And this next legs, like, it should be fun soon. Like, I think we're setting up for a huge move up. I think we're going to try to get a few people bearish, stop some people out before it moves up. I mean, just look at ENA on the daily here. Like, look at this. This is brutal. You had a 17-20% move down. So anybody over 6x leverage or so, I mean 5x, got stopped in a daily candle. So we stop people out. Maybe we form divergence down here. Maybe sweep one more time, complete harmonic patterns. We have a full moon. I don't know if you guys pay attention to any of that stuff either. Astrology, moon phases coming up. I think it's like June 11th. We have the 30-day window on Bitcoin that Scott talks about, where he's talking about things to move up in mid-June as well. So we have confluence there. I mean, there's a bunch of things that are looking good. I think it just needs a little bit of time to digest, and then from there, we go ahead and start to move it up. Yeah, right now we're in a new moon. We hit bare moon, obviously. Just started. I mean, we got like a couple more weeks. Like, not even. I mean, it's like 2 weeks every time. But we have, I would say, probably about like 8 days left. 9. I have to look. But I'm looking at a week into June. Let the monthly candle close digest. We have it on Sunday, low liquidity. We could get some manipulation. And I don't think we should be looking for too many scalps at the moment, or I'm not personally. I think I'm going to be looking for more swing trades and how I can position myself for the next leg higher, because I think it's about time. So the next week or two will be very important on how you're going to position yourself. But that's about it. Thanks, guys.